Hello, friends. I just thought that we can have some kind of a revision before actually on the starting of the next class. So, just a couple of points which are very, very important. So, I won't be taking much time, roughly around 5 minutes or something, so that you are able to understand in the next class better. Now, so as you can see, this is for the single silicon atom, and we were discussing that in single silicon atom then there are different electrons in different orbitals, and they have got some different kinds of energies. Now when there are hundreds and hundreds of atoms of silicon, and all of them are very far away, then they are not interacting with each other, and each of those atom may have a 3p electron which can have same energy. For example, if the energy of one of the electron in 3p atom is, let's say, minus 14.24, then even other atoms 3p electrons can also have energy of minus 14.34, because anyways all the atoms are identical, and so the electrons in them also should have identical energies, isn't it? Makes sense actually. Yeah, so all of the electrons of 3p orbitals may have exactly same amount of energy, which is minus 14.24, for example, in electron volt. So that's what I have written here, but that's the case when only atoms are far away. So we were discussing yesterday that when the atoms get closer, then they start interacting with each other, and because of that energy change, obviously because of interaction means now it's the outermost electrons are interacting with new charges, and with new charges it will have new potential energies, isn't it? K, q1, q2 by r. And so because of the interactions, their kinetic energy will also change because of new forces, maybe some kind of a work done by on them. So some electrons energy increases and some electrons energy decreases. So all of these 3p electrons of all atoms which were having previously exactly same energy, but now all these electrons energy will change. Some energies will increase, some energies will decrease, and that's why we get some kind of a band like structure. Now one thing which is important here is that here in each of these atom there are 6 energy states individually. I'm talking about a case when they are far away. So when they are far away, 2 energy states are there in 3s, and there are 6 energy states in actually 3p. But out of those 6 energy states, only 2 are filled up because of only 2 electrons. And so each atom will have a total of 6 energy states, 6 plus 2 actually, 6 plus 2 energy states in the outermost shell. But what happens when they come closer? Well, how many energy states are formed? Well, each of this atom will have 6 energy states in 3p, and there are n atoms which are coming together, then definitely there will be 6 and different energy states here. And here each atom has 2 energy states in 3s, and so n atoms will have this 2n energy states, isn't it? But those energy states are not single energies now. These are all different energies. So we say that this is a band of energy. So when they come closer, this 3s energy levels are split into bands, and 3p energy levels are split into also bands 3p. But what about these inner ones? In inner ones the interaction is not so much, so only when we decrease the spacing to very low values, then only they start splitting. Okay, we were also discussing that these energies, the bands, they merge as more and more interaction happens. There are more and more changes in energy. Obviously more changes in energy means these energies which were only spread up till here, they will have a higher energy differences, I mean more band kind of thing. So larger bands because of more variations in energy, because of more interactions. Yeah, so once they merge, after that they some kind of again a split. So how many total energy states are there? Well, each of the atom will have a total of 8 energy states. So there are n atoms, so 8 n energy states, 6 n here, 2 n here. But once these energy levels again split, this time not in 6 and 2 ratio but 4 and 4, and these lower energy states, sorry for this, So for this lower energy states there are 4n, and upper energy states there are again 4n. In between there are no energy states. That means we can't have an electron which have exactly this energy. That's not possible, because energies can be like this. Either these are the energy allowed energies, or these are the allowed energies. There are 4n allowed energies here, and there are 4n allowed energies here. One atom has got 4 electrons, and so 4n atoms have 4n electrons. So 4n electrons at 0 Kelvin, 4n electrons in 0 Kelvin, they all fill up this lower energy states, isn't it? Because 0 Kelvin is a state of minimum energy. So minimum energy levels are filled, or lower energy levels are filled up, upper levels are empty. Now these lower energy states are tightly bound to the nucleus. So that is where the second part comes in. Yeah. So you can see these lower energy electrons are tightly bound. But what about the outermost? They are highly energetic, and they are not only bound to a single nucleus, but they are equally a part of the other nucleus also, or other atom. And so what happens is these outer electrons, or higher energy electrons, they can move throughout those n atoms, and we call them free electrons, isn't it? Yeah. So that is what we discuss. So when we have free electrons, when the electrons are here in this conduction level, this higher energy, these are higher energy bands, and these are lower energy bands. So okay, not this one. Now let's come to this. No, not this one. Yeah, this one only. So what this diagram is showing is a silicon mesh. As we know that each silicon atom will be bound to 4 other silicon atoms by covalent bonds, and this is at 0 Kelvin. All of these electrons in silicon atoms are in the valence band, and this valence band is a lower energy band. If you remember from here, you can see this, the lower energy bands. So these are the three n equal to 3 quantum number electrons, which are this 4n in number. They are in lower energy band of which is called as a valence band, and in this valence band they are tightly bound to the silicon atoms. So all of these electrons are tightly bound to the silicon atom, and they are shared somehow with the neighboring 4 silicon atoms, but they can't leave these silicon atoms because they are bound. So when we apply some external electric field, will these electrons be able to move under the action? The thing is that they are bound to the nucleus, so they won't be able to move. So that explains the zero conductivity at 0 Kelvin. On the other hand, if you take metals are actually superconductors at 0 Kelvin, isn't it? So that's one of the major differences. 0 Kelvin, zero conductivity for semiconductors, and metal superconductivity at 0 Kelvin, isn't it? You know the reason. Now, coming here at non-zero Kelvin, some electrons gain sufficient amount of energy to overcome this energy barrier, and so they are able to jump from here to here, and they go into conduction band. Now these conduction band electrons are these high energy electrons, and they are able to move throughout the crystal lattice and conduct electricity. So that's the situation which I was talking about, as you can see here. Yeah, so one of the electron from the valence band, which was tightly bound to the nucleus, has gone here into the conduction band, and now it's free to move everywhere. And now that we apply this external electric field, what happens is this electron will move, isn't it? It will move opposite to this electric field, and when the electrons are moving, they do conduct electricity. And then we discussed that this hole will also be conducting electricity. If you remember, we said that because of this backward force, what will happen is that this electron is getting a continuous force like this, and so it will go and sit here in this vacancy. Why not? All the vacancies should be identical, so if it's getting a force, why not move there? So if it moves here, then there is a vacancy here, and this electron may go into this vacancy, isn't it? And so vacancy moves here, and this electron may go into this vacancy, and vacancy moves here, and this electron may go here and the vacancy move here, and then this electron may go here and vacancy move here, and so on. So the vacancy has gone from here to here, or we can say that electron has gone from here to here. So again these electrons are going here only, isn't it? And so this explains the whole conductivity that we were talking about in the last class. So the total current is equal to the electron current plus the hole current. Okay, we will discuss remaining things later in the next class. Thank you.